Welcome to another episode of the Your Longevity Blueprint podcast. My first guest today is Amanda Allen. She's a wife, proud mom of three amazing boys, a business owner, and a woman of unwavering faith based in Jupiter, Florida. Together with her husband, Amanda runs their family business while embracing a life centered on wellness, purpose, and God's grace. Amanda is passionate about health, body, mind, and spirit. She finds strength and joy in movement, whether it's through high energy HIIT workouts, peaceful yoga, or long walks that help her connect with God and reset her soul. But her wellness journey hasn't been without challenges. Between 2018 and 2022, Amanda walked through a deeply challenging and personal infertility journey, a season marked by exhaustion, sickness, patience, and perseverance. During that time, she battled hidden mycotoxins in her body caused by living in a home with mold. It was a time of physical, emotional, and spiritual trial, but through it all, Amanda learned the power of functional medicine and learned that our bodies can heal themselves if supported properly. Amanda's here to share her health journey and the lessons she learned along the way. So, welcome to the show, Amanda.
Hi, thank you.
Like, are you already tearing up? We just started.
I know, it's a lot.
But that's the story, that's the journey, and it is so personal. And before we started recording today, I just thanked you for coming on the show because these stories are so personal and there is some shame with infertility. I mean, I have my own shame because I'm a provider with a hormone clinic and it took me, 10 years to get two kids. So I've been there and it's just hard to talk about, but it's
Yeah.
also so beautiful to share our stories and help other women. So thank you for coming on the show. But
Thank
before
you.
we get to the heartbreak, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? How many kids do you have? And then we'll get to your fertility journey. So tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about yourself.
So I have three boys. First, they are 11, 7, and almost 3. And we live in South Florida, Palm Beach, Jupiter area. My husband and I own our own business. We work on mega yachts and do we love the beach lifestyle, boating lifestyle, outdoor, we golf, we fish, we do it all down here. It's great life and I'm blessed.
Yes, ooh, I want to ask you about the yachts, but we won't go there just yet. So, but you haven't always had three children. There is space between your kids, as we were just talking about before we started recording. So, share a little bit of your fertility journey and actually tell us how you found us too, just to refresh my memory.
Yeah. Okay. So, let's see. We had our first son, Chase, in 2014. It took me about, I was young and naive and had no idea how long it takes to get pregnant or what you do, what you need to do to get pregnant. Well, I mean, obviously what you need to do, but not that it's like can be a process.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it took us, about 6 months to get pregnant with Chase. And that kind of shook me a little because I didn't really realize that, oh, it's not going to happen the
Yeah,
first month
yeah.
you try. Okay. So had our first in 2014. After having Chase, I had 3 miscarriages. Um, totally, I never knew why.
Yeah,
Um, those were painful. That was a painful process.
yeah, I bet.
Never really thought that I would go through that and didn't know why and never really got to the root of why until later. Um, got pregnant in the beginning of 2017 for the 4th time and it stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And had Mason, our second. He was born the end of 2017. Um, After having Mason, I did not feel like myself. I was super tired, like super fatigued, never lost the baby weight. I had rashes, I was hormonal. I just like didn't feel good.
Yeah.
And I attributed that to, okay, I'm a mom of 2 now. I'm
I have a
exhausted.
business and yeah, yeah.
Yes, and this is what everybody says you go through. This is what it is. Um, but I've always been someone who has sought out like there's got to be a reason. There's got to be a fix. I've got to feel better. What's happening?
There's a why, there's a better way. Who can help me?
Exactly. There's a why. What do I need to do? What sort of detox do I need to go on? What sort of cleanse? What can I cut out of my diet? What can I do? Like I just felt like me not feeling well, real like I could solve it. It was something that I could fix. So I've always been one that's been resourceful. I listen to a lot of podcasts and I sought out hormone healing and how can I heal my hormones? Because I had done some hormone testing through my OBGYN and she had said, your progesterone zero, your estrogen zero, your testosterone zero, your zero, zero, zero. You are a postmenopausal woman at the age of 35.
Which is
And
like
I'm
premature
like,
ovarian failure, right? Yeah.
yes. And I
Way too
just
young for that. Yeah.
way too young. This isn't right. This isn't typical postpartum. This isn't like what goes along with being postpartum is just having no hormones. Plus I was breastfeeding. Um so anyways, I think I found you through you were a guest on someone else's podcast.
Hmm.
And I'm like, "Oh my goodness. She's speaking about women's hormones, hormone health, and the root cause of dysfunction. And let's look at diet. Let's look at
Yes.
exercise. Let's look at sleep. Let's look at like all the basics. Like, let's get down back to basics. I went to your website. I picked up the phone. I called your office and I said, I think you can help me. I need an appointment. And by the grace of God, it was in the middle of COVID,
Yeah.
which for everybody, like that wasn't great. For me, that was great because then I could have telehealth.
Yep.
And
Yep.
when if I remember, like
Yeah.
that
I'm licensed
allowed
to provide telehealth in Florida. So yeah. Yeah.
that
Yep.
would
Yep.
that allowed you
Yep.
to serve me.
Yep.
So what did we do? We immediately, and at this point, I wasn't even sure. I remember you asking me, do you want to have more kids? And I'm like, I don't know, but I just want to feel better. Like having more kids isn't off the table, but the fact of the matter is, I'm not going to have more kids with
I
these
feel
hormones.
like crap. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, if I feel like crap and I don't have any hormones, like there's
Yeah.
no more kids even happening. So let's just get to the root of this. So we went through the whole process. We tested everything, like from micronutrient deficiencies
Mhm.
to, everything, my hormones again. And we got on a really good, I remember first we healed my gut. That was like the first step to like, okay, we've got candida in here. There's stuff going on in your gut. So
That's
first,
always step number one. Yeah. Foundational with functional medicine. Yes. Always
yes.
number one. Yep.
And so first we healed my gut. Then we addressed some of my micronutrient nutrient deficiencies. We did some hormone, bioidentical hormones, so I could at least feel better.
Yep.
And then I remember it was maybe my third appointment, and I was feeling better, but my hormones still weren't there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is when we had said there's a root, there's a cause to
Hmm.
why your hormones aren't coming back.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's think about stuff. And I remember you saying, could there be mold in your house? Have you been exposed? And I was almost like embarrassed of that question of like, how could you ask me? Like, I live in a new house. I have like, what do you think I am? Like, I live in like a dirty place of like, no, of course there's no mold. I was like, we talked about shame earlier. Like, I
Yeah.
felt like
Yeah. Oh,
shame of like,
oh,
how could
that's huge
I
with
be
mold. Yeah.
exposed?
Yeah. Still.
How
Yeah.
could I be exposed to something so gross like that? Like, what? So I don't even think on that call, I was like, yeah, let's explore it. I think I had to go back
Hmm.
and talk to my husband and look around the house and really think about it and say, you know what? And then I had to do my own, I dug deep and I did my own research. I researched like Dave Asprey and like all of these like Neil Nathan, is it Neil
Yeah.
Nathan?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just all of these specialists in the area and like looked at like what are the signs and symptoms of mold, like mycotoxin sickness, illness. And I had every symptom.
Fatigue, back to weight gain, brain fog. I don't remember all what symptoms you had,
Yes,
but yeah.
all the
Yeah.
things,
Yeah. Yeah.
all the rashes. I had
Yes.
weird rashes.
Yes.
And I was like, and then I remember our next phone call, I'm like, okay, let's do the test. And we did the test and can't come to find out my levels were off the charts. It was so high. And I'll never forget that day because while
Mm,
I was upset about what it was, like I had an answer.
yeah. Yeah. Mm,
I
yeah.
know it's crazy. And so I was almost like, I was so happy that like yes, I know what it is, and we can fix this.
And what do I do now? What do I do? Yeah.
What do we do? So that's the point when it was like, okay, here's the process. We're going to get on binders. You suggested or recommended that we get a sauna. I went out the next day and dropped $7,000 on a sauna. I was like, I want to feel better, that there's no price,
Mhm.
there's
Yeah,
a price to
yeah.
this. So we bought a sauna. I got on all the binders, and
And you had to identify where the mold was coming from.
yes. Well, we actually ended up moving out of that house. We moved out of that house, and therapeutic as it was, the house was knocked down and leveled, and someone else bought the property and built a new house there. But I'll never forget walking by and seeing them level it, and I was just in tears because I'm like, oh my gosh, this house made me so sick, and it's gone now.
Yeah. Yeah. Weird. Yeah, that'd be a weird feeling.
That was a lot. That was a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah.
So fast forward, went through this journey. I think it's really important to mention that the journey of detoxification from something like this is not quick.
Yeah,
It
yeah. Very
is
important. Yep.
it is a process, and you have to commit to it. And there's some really down, ugly, yucky days and weeks where you feel really, really yucky, but you got to commit and be patient. And that's what I did. And fast forward, I guess it would have been like September 2021. I still, my sign of getting better was getting regular periods. Like
Sure.
once I got my period back regular, then I could say, okay, my hormones are working.
Hmm.
My period was really sporadic. And that summer, I got like 3 periods in a row. And I was like, wow. And my husband and I weren't even trying or anything. And come September, I was pregnant. And I not
Yeah.
even like thinking
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna get pregnant again. But that to me was a sign of like I went from having my hormones were literally, you told me your hormones
Zero.
are that of a postmenopausal woman, like an 80-year-old, to being pregnant with a healthy,
Hmm.
perfect pregnancy. Like it was, I mean, it really was like a gift from God. And it
It
was
was.
proof of like all of my patience and prayer and faith and perseverance like
Hmm.
paid off. And that's what it is. And then, we obviously retested the mold, and the levels were way, 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 way down. I mean, pretty much non-existent. But I've also gone through since then, like just going through the detox protocol. I continue to do it
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
my hormones still are not perfect. I've now had a third baby. I've now been through 2.5 more years of breastfeeding. Like
You're older. Yeah, 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 yep, yep.
it's still there. It's still a
Yeah.
process. But that period of time, I mean, it's like unbelievable.
Something
Really. It's like
shifted in the right direction. And had you had just seen conventional medicine, I mean, really for premature ovarian failure, they say, what do you want to do? You want like you can go through the IVF process as far as we can try to harvest your eggs if they're, if there's some there and if they're quality, whatnot, which you would have had some, we know because now you were able to get, pregnant. But I mean, a lot of people are rushed into aggressive medical intervention. Never. I mean, I would love to meet a conventional OB-GYN who asks her patients about mold exposure, but never have I met one of those yet. Yeah. That's just one toxin. I mean, we see premature ovarian failure from all kinds of toxins, even vaccinations. I mean, there are a lot of things, a lot of large stressors that can cause the body to stop cycling. And with you, I think mold was the biggest one. And so you
Yeah.
removed that trigger, you detoxed your body, and then what you've said from the very beginning is that you just believe your body has this innate ability to heal, and it did, and you got your cycles back, and voila, you got pregnant. And not everybody, I don't even want to say is easy because not everybody's story is that easy. Sometimes it takes years and years, and sometimes we can't figure out what the toxins are, what the exposure is. It is definitely a process and a journey, but clearly you had the patience and the
Yeah.
determination and
Well,
you committed and you had, the reward at the end. And I just want listeners to hear that because
yeah.
there is always a cause, there is always a why, and you got to find someone who will work with you to figure that out. And it's not always an easy process.
It's not easy, and it just takes a lot of patience too,
Yep.
because you're not going to feel, I think also in conventional medicine, like, oh, let's do IVF. Like it's quick. And it's
Mhm.
like, you need a quick fix. You want to get pregnant quick. You want to do that. We can do this in 30 days. We can do this in 60 days. Like, that's not the process of healing your body.
Well, and
Like,
had you gone that route, which and it could have been successful for you, you would have essentially conceived with a body full of mold toxins, which would not have been good for the fetus in the long run. So it behooved
yeah,
you and your third son, right, to cleanse your body first, get that
yes,
environment more hospitable to
yes.
carrying, right, and growing that human and
I
delivered
didn't even think
ahead of
of that.
time. Yeah.
I didn't even think of that. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Like, that's what we want before you get pregnant, is to like make your body clean as can be.
Yep, the sanctuary for growing new life. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let me go back to functional medicine. I was going to ask kind of what made you like seek that out, but it sounds like you've always been someone who's kind of wanted the answers, and that's what you were seeking with us. Were there any other just assessment findings or labs that you were surprised about? I don't remember like from your NutriVal. I don't know if you remember any of that. Were there any other surprises along the way?
I mean, the mycotoxin was a huge
The
surprise.
biggest one. Yeah. Yeah.
I think I was also just really, really surprised in that, the initial hormone tests, that my
So
hormones
bad. Yeah.
were so
Yeah.
bad
Well, that
because,
explained why you felt like crap, but yeah. Yeah.
well, I had always, like, since I got my period at age 14, like, had regular cycles, never had like an abnormal pap, never had an abnormal test, always been super healthy. I've always like, I mean, I was like vegan before I had my kids. I was like super like, just, I would always consider myself really, really healthy. And I was really proud of that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so to go through the process of getting testing that showed that I wasn't super healthy was really hard,
Yeah.
really
That
just
discouraging. Yeah.
discouraging, embarrassing, just like, I just felt like my identity was kind of gone.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I identified as being healthy.
Yeah.
And when all of a sudden these tests are showing you that you're not, it was like, wait,
What the
who
heck? Yeah.
who am I? I thought I knew who I was. Like, I now I'm like, who am I?
And you can hold space for both things, right? You can hold space for you were relatively healthy. I mean, really
Yeah.
compared to a lot of people, right? But you can still hold space for almost like the grief and the shock of having low hormones and, having mold exposure, but also hold space for, okay, I have an answer, and what are we going to do about it, right? And
And
you took the information, empowered you, and did something about it.
I was just going to say, and I certainly feel empowered now
Yeah.
with whatever comes my way. I mean, now I'm, 2.5 years in, just finished breastfeeding, and now I'm
Good for
on,
you.
I,
Yay.
thank you. And I'm a whole new process of like, okay, now I'm like, this is the first time I haven't been pregnant or breastfeeding or exposed with mold in 11 years.
Wow.
And I'm like, all right, like, now this is like a new health journey that I want to
Mhm.
like look and feel my best. And I'm 42, like,
Mhm.
things are different at 42. Like,
Yes,
you're
they are.
slower and you feel tired, and I'm feeling like perimenopause stuff. But I feel so empowered because I've been through it. And
Hmm.
I know that, like, okay, I know how to take care of myself now. And I know how to get my body functioning optimally.
Hmm.
I'm not saying that it's easy, but like, the body can do it.
And you're a walking testimony of that. And by getting yourself out of that moldy exposure, you were getting your family out of that too, right?
Mm.
Which is just only going to better their health, their lives.
Oh yeah, and I look back now and I'm like, I can't even believe like we were in that. Like, I'm
Yeah.
like, it's hard to not look back and be regretful of like even
Mhm.
being in it. But yes.
Yep. I think our past, I never know because our past office, we've been in this office almost like 8 years now, a long time, but our past office, I guarantee was moldy. I know it was, although I was just starting to learn about mold back then. And of course I feel bad for being in that environment. Like, but I didn't know, you
Yeah.
just can't go back. But what I do know is when I got out of that environment and we moved to the new clinic, I got pregnant within months. So I do
Wow.
know that I
Wow.
too, needed to get out of that. Ah. But
Wow.
I say that to just tell the audience there's so much that I know now that I wish I knew years ago, even though I have had all this information. And we got to move forward. We can only move, you can't go back, you can only move forward. So
Yes.
let it be empowering what you do know.
Yes. Yeah.
Was there any other, you've shared so many nuggets with us, but were there any other just invaluable lessons or insights from your experience? I heard patience. I heard that as one of,
I really think patience and perseverance, like it
yeah,
was, it like thinking that, okay, I'm going to take this charcoal binder every day. I'm going to go sit in this sauna and sweat. I'm going
yeah,
to try to exercise as
mhm,
much as I can. I'm going to eat, detoxifying foods and drinks and do the spirulina and chlorella and the, what is the bentonite clay drinks. I mean, I did it all, and I'm gonna do this all every day for months and months and months and months and months. And I mean, probably a year and a half. I
yeah.
like did all this.
Detoxing from mold is not just like fixing vitamin D. It's not like, well, I'm going to take this vitamin pill
No,
for 5 weeks
that's
and my
my
level's
point.
fixed. No, this is a journey. Yes.
That's my point is like it's patience, and it's like and honestly, I think I felt worse in the beginning.
Oh, most people
Because
do. Yeah.
when it's getting out, you feel really yucky and you got to stick with it. And I think just having that faith and having that patience.
And determination, clearly. You're like, I'm doing this. I'm
Yeah.
taking care of this. Yeah.
Doing it. So I think that was the biggest lesson really was just like the patience in knowing like everybody's out there looking for a quick fix these days. And
Mhm.
like if you want to really heal yourself, it doesn't happen overnight. Or you really want to lose weight, or you really want to get healthy. You really like it's not an overnight thing. It's not like, oh, all of a sudden tomorrow I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna feel great. Not really.
And bringing that back to fertility, it's so important that you don't go for the quick fix with fertility because
Yeah.
again, you want the healthy embryo, you want the healthy uterine environment for the embryo to develop in. And so we don't want to push that. I mean, I think that's a cause of miscarriages. Unfortunately, there are a lot of causes of miscarriages, but we don't want people, couples pushing with conventional medicine too quick, too fast, because there's a reason why you're not conceiving. And we need to listen to the body's signals. We need to slow things down. And like you're saying, just recognize that it's going to take time. The better, I don't even say fix with fertility, but the better approach is to take things slow. So, very good point.
Yep. And I really trust also, like, I have a lot of faith in God and his timing. And I
Yes, yes.
really, really believe that, like, the timing was when it was supposed to be. And so to say, like, oh, I want to have my kids, 15 months apart, but that was not God's plan for us at all.
Yep,
And
mine either. Yep, yep,
it's good.
yep,
It's
yep,
good.
yep, yep. How has this journey changed your approach to health and wellness in general? You kind of already answered that too, but anything else you want to share there?
Yeah, I think that now I mean I learned a lot about detox. And even if you don't have mold, your body needs to detox. And
Yep.
whether that detox is a 24-hour fast or um a liquid soup thing for a few days or just like whatever it is, like your body needs a break and your body needs to get stuff out in order to
Mm-hmm.
function properly.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever kind of detox that looks like, I think like detox is really important. And I didn't like sweating.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Sweating is
yeah.
so important. And I didn't know. When I heard the word detox, like before I went through all of this, I would think of like
From
these.
alcohol or from a substance or yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
I
yeah.
would
Yep.
think exactly. That's what I would think of. But we all are living in this environment and we all have microplastics in our bodies. We all have.
Herbicides, pesticides. Yeah, there's so many. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. And so I learned a lot about detox. And now in my practice, we do a lot of sauna. I do a lot of like hot yoga where I sweat a lot.
Mhm.
I'll occasionally do like a couple days of like soups and juices. And like I just try to cleanse and detox my body and get the yuck out when I
Yep.
feel yucky.
You're
So
taking, yeah, you're taking me
I
back. Just
learned.
listening to you speak, you're taking me back to when I launched my first book, Your Longevity Blueprint. I was on a lot of podcasts and I talked about 3 tips to boost hormones naturally. And those 3 tips were fix nutritional deficiencies, reduce stress, and detox the body. And I think detoxing is just so heavily underrated, but it is so important for
Yeah.
any symptom, any condition, but especially for improving hormones for the sake of fertility.
Yep.
So yes, detoxing the body, very, very important.
Yep.
Okay. What advice or words of encouragement might you offer to a listener who is feeling discouraged after months or years of trying to conceive?
Woo! Woo! It's so hard. I mean, words of encouragement would just be again like don't lose faith, um, patience, and also just like use your resources. Like, don't give up and don't sit around and do nothing and just think that like your body's going to it's just gonna happen when it's supposed to happen. And I guess I believe that, like I do think like the timing is
God's
in
timing.
God's
Yeah.
hand,
Yep. Yep.
but I also believe that there are
He
things,
gives us tools. Yeah.
yes, there are things that we should and could be doing to help. And those things are just improving your own situation, improving your health,
Hmm.
improving your body's way your reproductive system to work better, your everything, your detoxification system, your digestive, all of it. Like when it's all working optimally, you're putting yourself in the best position to get pregnant.
Hmm.
So I think it's patience, but it's also just not like sitting back and doing nothing and just like every 30 days, like maybe this month, maybe that
Hmm.
month, you know, maybe
Hmm.
that's the way you approach it for the first 6 months, but then
I love
let's
that you said use your resources because that's as the
use your
listeners are going to
resources.
hear later in this show. I've put together a huge collection of resources for them. So, so yes,
Yeah.
use the resources and do the work. And
Yep.
yes,
Yep.
wonderful. Okay, do you have a top longevity tip?
My top longevity tip for the past, I'd say pre-COVID. Everything revolves around like this COVID era. Like when was COVID? 2020. Okay, since probably like 2018. It's like since I went through this, I take daily walks and they're early morning walks. I
Yeah,
mean, I'm up at 5:30 and before my kids get up, before my husband gets up, I get my earphones, I grab my phone, I turn on a podcast, a devotional, a book I'm listening to, something that is going to light me up, something that is
yeah.
going to motivate me, something that is going to help me for the day. I
Hmm.
grab a cup of coffee and I go walking and I watch the sunrise. And it is like my like sanctuary. Like it
Yeah,
is
yeah.
it's my favorite part of the whole day. So for me, like those are non-negotiable. My morning walks are non-negotiable. If I don't go on a walk in the morning, my husband looks at me and he's like, "You didn't go
Didn't
on a
get your
walk."
time, did you? Yeah. Well,
So
it
that's
sounds like you're setting, well, you're setting time aside for yourself, which is really important, although you're sacrificing some sleep to do it. So I'll give you props for that. But but it sounds like you're using that to encourage yourself and set the intention for the day too. Just like, okay, here we go. I'm going to listen to something uplifting or something that I'm going to learn, setting the intention for the day. And it's like, then you go home, your kids get up. I love that. I
oh
love.
yeah, I walk in the door at 7 a.m. and like I'm like, good morning. Like, I'm happy to see everybody. I've already been fed myself. Like, I feel great. But you did say something about sleep. And I will say, if you're going to do this, you have to go to bed early.
Yeah, yeah.
Is what it like, it's not something that I'm saying, oh, I'm going to bed at 11 o'clock and getting up at 5:30. Like, I don't do that. I don't go
You're
to bed at
still
11.
getting your sleep.
Like
Yes.
I
Yes.
don't. I go to
Yep.
bed between 9 and 9:30 and I'm
Yep.
up at 5:30. Like that is what I do. Do I sacrifice a lot of social stuff? Yep. But there's no to me.
You need the sleep. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing
Yep.
that. Well, thank you again, Amanda, for coming on the show and sharing your personal, I shouldn't say just story, but stories, because you shared, your whole kind of fertility journey. And congratulations to you really on your belief. Ever since I met you, you've just had this belief in that innate ability of your body to heal itself. And it has along the way with the grace of God and tools and the work that you've done. So I applaud you. You did the work and you got baby number 3. So I'm so happy for you. You have such a unique story of encouragement. So thanks for coming on the show and sharing all of that. This was great.
Thank you so much. It really was my pleasure and honor, and I'm really happy to share.